While it seems many Canadians might still be asleep, we are awake and alert to what's going on. If you want to get in the know, you want resources and be equipped to take action, please check out actionforcanada.com. We also hold bi-weekly meetings currently in Karlsruhe and occasionally in Owen Sound on a Monday night. You can check us out by sending an email to on-gray-bruce@actionforcanada.ca. I just wanted to kick off with a few headlines that you might have heard over the past little while that may or may not have affected those in your lives, those who you love. In October, Hanover and District Hospital makes COVID vaccination policy for staff and physicians. We're getting a little competition over there. Oh yeah, truth is the antidote's going by. Okay, in October, the Bruce Grey Catholic District School Board passed a motion to make mandatory vaccinations for our students, their staff, and let's throw in visitors as well, unbeknownst to the parents and the teachers of that school board. December 31st was announced. As of January 1st, unvaccinated nurses, physicians, and healthcare workers were deemed to have resigned from their positions for not choosing the vaccination. And then more recently, a Waterloo teacher was ejected from a school board meeting for expressing concerns over content in board-approved library books under false claims that she was in violation of the Human Rights Code. Recently, right here in South Bruce Peninsula Mayor calls for more doctor recruitment support from the province because Ontario, particularly South Bruce Peninsula, are experiencing a severe shortage of physicians, leaving many people without access to healthcare. Anyone see the irony? Just recently, maybe you have a student going to U of T. Well, they're not going to residence anymore unless they have at least one COVID-19 booster dose in order to live in residence. Oh, and my personal favorite from the Grey Bruce Public Health website, protect yourself and your community from COVID-19. This is just as of July 15th, 2022. Vaccination remains your best defense against severe outcomes from COVID-19 and the most effective way to protect communities, including those at the highest risk. It is for those reasons the Grey Bruce Health Unit is pleased to announce that Health Canada has authorized the first COVID-19 vaccine for children aged 6 months to 5 years. Can I get a bucket, please? Yeah. And that announcement came the same day as Ontario expanded eligibility for the second booster amongst residents 18 and above. And finally, thanks to Rebel News, on a list of the world's happiest countries, Canada falls to an all-time low. 10 years ago, we were the fifth happiest country in the world. Any guesses where we are today? Yeah, seems like 99, feels like 99. 15th behind Germany and just ahead of US and the UK.
Shake, shake, shake and stomp, stomp, stomp your feet and clap, clap, clap your hands, everybody, clap, clap, clap. Clap your hands, everybody. Feel the vibes in your spine. I can't deny that I'm loving life, this existence. Whew, it's amazing. We are all one, connected in the present moment. Happy station. We're on Sable Beach. Feel the good energy. I let it enter me. Shooba-dooba-da-dee. When I say world, you guys say peace. World, peace. World, peace. Louder, louder, prouder, prouder. World, peace. World, peace. Now somebody scream. When I say Desi, you guys say ranks. I said when I say Desi, you guys say ranks. Desi? 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 So Desi, Ranks, and myself, we have a song called World Peace Day, so I need everyone's help. It goes like, every day is our World Peace Day. Everybody. Every day is our World Peace Day. Everybody. Every day. Every day is a World Peace Day. Come on, say freedom! Let me hear you. There's no time to be quiet right now. Everybody, repeat after me. Repeat after me. Repeat after me, everybody. Everybody. I love Canada. Everybody, I love Canada. Louder, I love Canada. I love Canada. ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say I appreciate all you. Yo, Desi, cut the music, cut the music, cut the music, cut the music. Everybody, I need your help real quick. Let's all take a couple more deep breaths. Let's take a few deep breaths right now.
Okay, was anybody here, or sorry, was anybody in Ottawa in February for the convoy? Same here. Yeah, I met a lot of you there. I met Ryan there. I know Desi was there, World Peace was there. We've made so many new friends, so many new family members. I don't know about that, I don't think he was there.
Up on January 28th, midnight, Wellington, and there was already a convoy parked there. They were already on Wellington. The cops were already starting to shut things down. It wasn't even the 29th yet. And that's where this journey kind of started for me. I'm from Alberta. I've been in Ottawa 198 days now since the original convoy. And we're going to keep fighting until we win this, guys. Everybody's got sacrifice to make to do what's needed to be done out here. I think that's something that we can't forget. Whether you've been cooking food for people, or you've been sharing stuff on the social medias, or you've been fueling people. You've been coming to these rallies. You've been speaking out against the narrative. We've all done our part to get as far as we have. It's important that we get more community and more contacts every time we gather like this. Get 5 numbers, get 10 numbers, get 20. The more contacts we have, the more we are united, the more we can come together when it's time, right? And it's coming real soon, guys. Like, there's only so much they can do. There's only so many lies they can tell people before their story just completely crumbles. And I think we're almost at that point right now. So I want to see everybody get a bunch of phone numbers. Make some new friends out here this weekend. Enjoy the beach. Drink responsibly. No, I don't want to see any irresponsible drinking and driving, any of that kind of stuff. There's a lot of beautiful families out here. Let's have a great weekend, guys, and just have fun and make new connections with everybody, guys. This is what this is all about. Spread love. This is what it's all about, guys.
as you are, and not everybody understands the rule of law in Canada, but I'm sure that news and the rule of law is spreading. So, on that note, I'm going to call up Mr. Nia Singh, who is running for the Mayor of Toronto, and he understands the rule of law in Canada because he's also a lawyer.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. So I see a little tension happening, unfortunately, between our human beings. And what I want to say as a fellow human being is, no matter what your belief is on this issue, you have to make sure you respect other people's views. And that's extremely important. As a criminal defense lawyer, a human rights lawyer, as somebody who's running for mayor of the city of Toronto, thank you. I'm really set on bringing our city together. We have all these wonderful things. We have the CN Tower, the Sky Dome, AKA Rogers Center, the ACC, AKA Scotiabank, right? We have these beautiful buildings and we have beautiful people, but we're allowing political ideologies and mandates to divide us. And that should never happen. I will say this, I have a good relationship with Mr. Mayor John Tory. I will say that. But I know people are unhappy, and I am also unhappy. I'm unhappy with his support and decision to fire and let go city workers who chose not to be inoculated. That is not right. You don't take away somebody's livelihood because they refuse to adopt the narrative that has thrown this whole world into turmoil. And the result of that is these children who want to play hockey, who want to go to swimming and want to go to recreation centers, can't go because they're now denied based on City of Toronto regulations and other things like that. And that is not acceptable. The science. Let's speak about what this actually is. We're talking about a coronavirus. We're talking about a virus that has been on this earth for eons. As long as humans have been here, we've been exposed to coronaviruses. Someone says it's not this one. It's debatable, right? It's debatable.
Now, if it was the case where people were physically forced or were held down or were prevented by force of doing things, then I would be agreeing with this. It's unfortunate, I understand coercion, but it's the same as laws. We have laws, and if you break the laws, you deal with the consequences of them. Because it was a mandate, yes, it wasn't a law, so you don't necessarily need to follow it. However, there are consequences to not following the rules.
So, listen, okay, hold on. You guys don't yell at him, right? Listen, hold on. It's okay, brother, wait here. Listen, I'm running for mayor for this precise reason, right? You saw me pull the gentleman up on stage because he has something to say. But we can have a dialogue, and we don't have to shout at each other because of it. And so let's respect his views, right? Okay. So, sir, you mentioned vaccines in school. Those set of vaccines are for a completely different illness and virus. We're talking about polio, mumps, measles. This is different, right? COVID-19, a coronavirus, is the symptoms of the flu. It's very similar, right? I've gotten sick and I've recovered within 4 days, no vaccine, right? So what we're talking about now, when you say that people aren't being forced, we are being forced. I could not get on a plane for 3 years to see my grandmother with dementia because Prime Minister Trudeau said that I am not worthy, I am different than you, right? So, wait, let me finish, give me 1 second, and I don't want to disrupt my speech because I know I already brought you up, so I just want to say this. We are being forced, and we're being forced for this reason. Just like I mentioned the City of Toronto workers being fired, they're taking away people's livelihoods for their own personal choice, which is not a choice that jeopardizes you or anybody else. Because if you're vaccinated, it may not, because if you're vaccinated, you should be confident in the vaccine that you've taken, right? Right?
Freedom! Yeah! God bless you all. God bless Toronto. And God bless those children playing hockey. That's what we do this for our next generation, for the children.
Dr. Joseph Mengele. Has anyone heard of that name? You know, Dr. Joseph Mengele was a public officer of health in the Nazi Party. He was in society an esteemed physician. He worked with other doctors to perform genetic research on humans, focused primarily on twins. Did you hear that? Genetic research on humans, Dr. Joseph Mengele. In the end, Joseph Mengele was using good. He was disguising himself as an angel of light when he was demonic and corrupt. Fast forward, ladies and gentlemen, to today. Fast forward to 2019, 2020, and the similarities of Satan masquerading as the angel of light are coming back. And according to Vera, a survivor of the Holocaust, the similarities are uncanny. We have the architect of this entire pandemic who has a patent on the engineered COVID-19, engineered using gain-of-function research, ample evidence for that. He has a patent on that and a patent on messenger RNA injections. It's Dr. Anthony Fauci. Do you know in the end how history remembers Dr. Mengele from Germany? He was called the angel of death. Tony Fauci is our modern angel of death. Just listen to the statistics. Those of you that are clapping for Tony Fauci, please listen carefully. It's okay to respectfully disagree, but listen carefully. Dr. Fauci has been injecting experimental messenger RNA, mandating it, getting all doctors on board, getting public health authorities across the globe to support the genetic therapy, working alongside World Health Organization, FDA, Health Canada, and doctors, using this experiment without full disclosure of information, without telling us what's in the injection, without an informed consent, using extortion, using complete extortion in order to get the injection. So we have Dr. Tam, Dr. Moore, Dr. Henshaw, Dr. Henry, and all the other provincial leaders pushing, coercing people to get this injection. We have employers coercing people, using extortion to get people to have this injection.
Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to address that gentleman, Zach, who came on and spoke earlier, and he was upset that we're not vaccinated and that we're not doing our part to protect everybody by being vaccinated. Okay, so first of all, that argument only works if the vaccine was actually effective, right? Okay, so let me share with you, just by chance, I happen to have Pfizer's study right here in my hand. I just brought it, and look at the opportunity now I have to address that gentleman. So this study was done by Pfizer, and they are saying, you've probably heard this, the vaccine, the mRNA vaccine, or jab, or whatever you want to call it, had 95 to 100% efficacy, right? So that means it's effective in 95 to 100% of the time, right? So what exactly does that mean? Well, I don't even know what that means, but when you look at the same study, okay, the thing that you really want to look at is the death rate. So anytime, this is a secret for all you who want to read your own studies, because a lot of fake statistics are used in medical research. They want to distract you, and they want to present a particular message, which is, oh, it's so effective, right? So what is the real measure of efficacy? The real measure is what's something called all-cause mortality, or basically death due to any cause, right? The vaccine's supposed to be saving lives. So if it really was saving lives, you would see a reduction in death due to all causes, regardless whether it's heart attack or whether it's COVID or whatever. We should see fewer deaths in the vaccinated. Okay, so the same study right here that I'm holding in my hand that says the vaccine has 95 to 100% efficacy, when you look at the death rate, guess what you see? So here's the death rate, and the study involved almost 13,000 people who were vaccinated compared against 13,000 people who are unvaccinated. And the death rate in the unvaccinated was 17, and the death rate in the vaccinated group was 21. Think about that. The vaccinated had more deaths than the unvaccinated. So where's this 95% efficacy? So here's how they're using false statistics to mislead the public. And the public health officials are aware of this, and they're promoting this false notion that the vaccine is safe and effective. So if the vaccine has no efficacy, then where's the argument that we need to vaccinate everybody to protect everybody else? That falls flat. Okay, so here's the data I'm holding right in my hand. That's just one study, by the way. The next thing that's an issue is the side effects of the vaccine. So this is a document, this is a Pfizer internal document which was not supposed to be released. It says right on it, this is proprietary, confidential, disclosure, reproduction, distribution, dissemination, blah, 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 outside of Pfizer is strictly prohibited. The reason this document got out was because of a court order. Pfizer wanted 75 years to release this data, but the court said, no, sorry, you gotta release it now. And in this document is a list of special side effects, what they call special adverse events, unexpected side effects. So there's a list, it's pages long, pages and pages of side effects. And what's really disturbing is the number of autoimmune side effects. So the vaccine, it seems to provoke your immune system to go crazy and attack the body. And that's one of the most common set of side effects that we're seeing. And that's one of the reasons that there's blood clots forming and people are having heart attacks and strokes is because the immune system is going crazy. But one particular side effect really caught my attention on this list. It happens to be number one on the list. Now, do you remember all this discussion before about, oh, you know what, this vaccine, it changes your DNA, and the drug companies are saying, no, it doesn't change your DNA. That's a complete lie. And people are saying, no, we're afraid that it changes your DNA. Well, guess what's number one on this list? I want you to look up on your phone right now, something called 1p36 deletion syndrome, okay? 1p36 deletion syndrome is a gene deletion. The vaccine is recognized by Pfizer to potentially cause one of your genes to be deleted. That is, by definition, an alteration of your DNA. So it is recognized, and it is in Pfizer's internal document that the vaccine may cause an alteration to your DNA. So there you go, that's probably the biggest lie right there. In addition to, like I said, pages and pages of side effects. Like just, you can't even see it here, but there's pages and pages of long adverse events that I've never even heard of, you know, most of these. It's unbelievable. Okay, so basically any argument about, you know, being vaccinated to protect somebody else, that completely falls flat. The data simply does not support it. That's crystal clear. Now, I'm also going to talk to you about what the College of Physicians and Surgeons has to say. So they are telling doctors that they may not contradict public health directives about the vaccine. They're trying to block doctors from giving vaccine exemptions. They're trying to get doctors to force people to be vaccinated, and actually many doctors are even scared. They're not even seeing patients in their offices who are unvaccinated because the doctors are afraid of getting COVID and dying from it. So clearly the doctors haven't seen this data that shows the vaccine does nothing to protect you. But here's an actual directive from the College of Physicians where they're telling doctors, that there are very few medical exemptions, generally speaking, and they give examples. And really what they've done is they've scared doctors into not giving legitimate vaccine exemptions. And they've actually written here, this is on the college website, that in light of the fact, they call it a fact, that vaccines have been proven to be both safe and effective. This is the College of Physicians. They are lying to the public and they are lying to physicians. I've just presented you the data that shows that there is no vaccine efficacy. When you look at the bottom line, which is deaths, it's ineffective. Right? And as I said, that's just one study. There's many more studies that show also failure of the vaccine. And safe, well, where's the safety? When you got a list of side effects that are pages and pages long, and plus, you don't have any long-term data, and they're also saying the vaccines are proven. They're using the word proven. Okay, so in medical language, anytime you call something proven, you pretty much have to say that it's proven by a phase 3 trial, which is a large clinical study done typically on hundreds of patients at multiple university centers, multiple hospitals, and so on. And there is no phase 3 trial. The vaccine only came out, 2 years ago. There's no long-term data. Where's the phase 3 trials? When they wrote this, there weren't any. This was September 2021. So they're lying that it was proven. They're lying that it's safe. They're lying that it's effective. And this is the College of Physicians who are supposed to be protecting the public. Okay, they're lying to doctors, and they're coercing doctors to actually vaccinate their patients and to not allow patients to avoid the vaccines.
Denmark realizes they've read the studies and they know that their 10 to 14-year-olds are somewhere between 52 and 100 times more likely to die if they get the vaccine than if they don't. Those exact statistics came out of Britain in late February and got added to by the end of May. And what looked like a 5,200% elevation in death rate ballooned to an 8,200%, close to 100% death rate increase if you're double vaxxed. And that's within 6 months. Who knows how many more die after the 6 months. If someone had started giving a medication, just a medication to society, and they saw even a 5% elevation in all-cause deaths for the children taking that medication would be off the shelves before the week was over. There is stupidity raining down in this world. It's maliciousness at the top. It's maliciousness at whoever organized this thing and whoever's making the money off of the vaxes. They're not stupid. They're just friggin' malicious. But the stupidity, the absolute stupidity of politicians, basically, and people who are advising politicians, it's horrible. It's just horrible because we know the deaths are happening. The one thing I wanted to remember to say was that ivermectin was always the pure and perfect medication to save in a COVID pandemic. It was studied for 12 years. The original SARS-CoV-1 was 2003. They studied, therefore, between 2003 and 2015 to what to do to be prepared if there was ever a COVID pandemic of significance again. And their studies were 12 years in length. Their studies were of numerous medications, and the answer came back loud and clear, and it was published, including by the US military, which had a responsibility if there was a viral pandemic. And the published studies said, ivermectin is the stone-cold, absolute best treatment if there's ever a COVID-type pandemic. It will work. Hydroxychloroquine is also fairly reasonable and will work as well. Just not quite as well as ivermectin, but both very, very well. There were other drugs that were considered. Those were the top 2. So how in hell, when every researcher worth their salt knew that the next COVID pandemic should be treated with those 2 drugs, and equally, every researcher worth their salt knew that vaccinations within the sense of a pandemic would only do one thing. It would worsen the pandemic, it would make the germs stronger, it would make them more virulent, it would make them more variants, and it would all be for damage. So they did the 2 wrong things. They did exactly the 2 things. They did what they shouldn't do, and they didn't do what they should have done. They should have done was use ivermectin. What they should not have done was use vaccinations, and that's what they did. But that's if it was a good vaccination. It wasn't a good vaccination. It's a complete piece of crap. It happens to your immune cells themselves, white blood cells as they're called, that come from the bone marrow. And the white blood cells are responsible for fighting not just viruses, they're also significant for fighting cancer. So when your white cells have been eaten up by other white cells attacking them, and your immune system starts to diminish, well, first thing that happens, and it's been noticed very clearly, you're more likely to get COVID. Notice how all the vaccinated people are getting the COVID repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's happening because their immune system and their white cells have been damaged. All these antibodies that the drug companies were saying was a good thing, doesn't do a damn thing for you for preventing COVID. It does absolutely nothing. Please, thank you. I'm just trying to remember where I am here. Thank you. White cells being attacked. That means your cancer risk for the next 10 years gets more and more severe. So, not great news on a Friday night, but great news in this sense. It's time to stop it. It's time to walk. It's time to march. It's time to pray. But the most important thing is it's time to keep your shoulders to yourselves. Do not offer up your shoulder to the insane idea of another 40 trillion viral spike protein producers. Don't allow any more spike proteins into you, especially in those crazy numbers. It has to stop. We will stop it. I thank all of you for coming tonight and listening. I'm simply a doctor who's trying to protect the health of people, and with this truth, we can protect the health of people. Thank you.
Your compliance has cost you your rights and freedoms, which they're now trying to take away permanently. Your compliance is now costing you something else. It's costing you actual money. The amount of money they spent on this pandemic, the amount of money they're spending to buy people's compliance, the amount of money they're spending to enforce closing down people's business and destroying the economy, that's all coming home to roost. There's a little thing called inflation, ladies and gentlemen. And in 2020, I told you, you're going to see double-digit inflation. You're going to see 30% inflation. It's only going to get worse. In the last 22 months in the United States of America, they printed 80% of the US dollars now in circulation. We're talking all the way from the 1700s to 2019 was 20% of the US money supply. And just from the onset of the pandemic till now, 80% of the money supply. That's 400% more US dollars in circulation. You know what that means? That means that a loaf of bread is going to skyrocket. That means virtually every single thing you buy is going to skyrocket. Your energy costs are going to skyrocket. How's the price of gas looking right now? And why are they doing all this? It's not by accident, it's by design. It's because we did not give in. We stood strong. We just said no. So now they're trying to make as much pain and suffering across the globe as they can. And it's not just happening here, it's happening everywhere. And the new phase of their plan is to go after the global food supply. And they're doing it under the guise of protecting the environment. You're going to be hearing more and more about climate change as they try to convert the pandemic COVID agenda, where you needed to give up your rights and freedoms temporarily for your health and safety, to the now global climate change catastrophe, where you need to give up your rights and freedoms permanently for the good of the planet. We all saw the riots in Sri Lanka, and now what are we seeing in Netherlands? The exact same thing. Why? Because they have now declared nitrogen is the new enemy of mankind. It's no longer CO2, it's nitrogen. Even though 75% of our atmosphere is nitrogen, they are now claiming that we need to curb this dangerous emission or we're all going to die. And conveniently for them, and not so conveniently for the rest of mankind, the number one emitters of nitrogen is our farming, livestock, agriculture, food supply industry. So now the new mantra from the government is, we need to kill the global food supply to save the planet. And they did it in Sri Lanka as a base thing, and you saw riots, you saw uprising. And what happened? They replaced the leader with a new leader straight from the World Economic Forum website. They didn't even bother to give him a new picture, straight from the website. And the very first thing he did was to bring them stability in the form of a downloadable app, in the form of a digital identity, in a form of a rationing system for food and gas. Exactly what they want for all of us. And that's exactly where they're trying to bring us. They want to bring us down to the point where you can't make ends meet. If gas keeps going up, if gas is $3 a liter, and all of a sudden your grocery bill that was $300 a week is now $700 or $800 a week, how many people in the Canadian population is going to be able to make ends meet without government assistance? Answer, not many. And that's what they want. Because the moment you cannot survive without them, they no longer serve you, they rule you. And that's what this is all about, control. They want to have control over you. So this is what's going to happen in the next couple of months. They're going to try to bring back all these wonderful restrictions. You're going to hear about cases rising. I got a report yesterday from a nurse that said she was working on her floor for the last month, and then all of a sudden they showed 6 COVID deaths on her floor. So she went and checked on all the patients, and not one of them had been dead. So she went and asked the supervisor, why are there 6 COVID deaths shown on the floor when there's absolutely no COVID deaths? And they said, mind your own business. And she made this public. She whistle blew it, and I posted it online. So they're already setting the narrative. They're already trying to get people, like I said, at the schools to wear the masks and take the jabs. And way back in March, when Bill Gates came to Vancouver, I said they're going to come out with a new vaccine. They're going to blame the variants on the reason the vaccine failed miserably and the reason the vaccine is really getting everyone sick. In fact, the vaccine was such a failure. If you went on the Canadian Public Health websites for each individual province, and I'll go from Alberta because that's the one I was watching because that's where I was the last few months, it would give you a thing where you could click on something called vaccine outcomes. And when you click it, it would give you a percentage of the people, a total number of people in the hospital, and the percentage of them that were unjabbed, single jab, double jab, and triple jabbed. By May 2022, over 80% of the people hospitalized for COVID had been jabbed. 55% of those were triple jabbed. So it showed not only that the jab didn't work, it showed the more jabs you took, the more likely you were to get hospitalized for COVID. The exact opposite of what the jab is supposed to do. Guess what happened in June? It was over 90% of people in hospital that had been jabbed. So guess what happened in July? Our government just stopped publishing those statistics. All the websites provincially changed, and instead of a thing called vaccine outcomes, you can now click on a tab called vaccine effectiveness. And when you click on it, you just get the same old song and dance of how vaccines are safe and effective, but how some vaccines are not working as well because of the variants. But now they got a new thing. I told you they were going to call it a universal vaccine. They started with that, now they changed it because it sounded too scary. They call it a bivalent vaccine. So now it's got 2 shots in one, basically. And obviously the first 5 didn't work, so let's just double up and give people more. Now let's give people a monkeypox jab. They're going to talk about polio. They might even start trying to talk about Lyme disease. In fact, they're even telling you you should go get your COVID booster and your flu shot at the exact same time. They're both so safe and effective, get them at the same time. We're already getting millions and millions of adverse reactions from the COVID vaccine, compounded as you get more of them. But let's take even more shots. That's the key. So it's very obvious what they're doing. They're literally getting people that are stupid enough to pay to kill themselves. It's the reality. And we have people of varying degrees, in my opinion. And I said this out loud, and I'll say it right here for everybody to listen. If you took the first shot, I truly feel sorry for you because we had no information. People were terrified, and they believed it. If you took the second shot, most of you I'm upset with because most of the people that took the second shot did it for selfish reasons. Oh, I need to visit my grandmother. Oh, I was going to get fired from my job. Guess what? I know people that had 4 children, mortgages, a job security for 20 years, and when they were told take the jab or lose your job, they told them to go F themselves, and they found another job. And I know many people that did that same thing. So a lot of people that said, they all say this, I didn't have a choice. I had no choice. No, you had a choice. You all took the easy way out. Whatever your excuse was, whatever you told yourself is no different for the excuse you told your children why they need to wear a mask at school, even though you didn't believe in it. So that's the people that took the second jab. The people that took the third jab, I have no sympathy for you. 3 is the magic number. You've seen every movie, 3 wishes, 3 strikes, everything. So if you went and took that third jab and you dropped dead right after, I'm sorry, I don't feel sorry for you. I feel about as sorry for you as I do the person that put on a blindfold and started running across the highway back and forth when he got hit by a car. That's how sorry I feel. For the people that took 4, 5, 6, you deserve everything that happens to you. I'm sorry you do, because you are enabling this and you are hurting other people. You are hurting children, you're hurting yourself, you're hurting future generations. All because you weren't strong enough to stand up. Selfish! Doing the right thing is never the easy thing. Everybody took the easy way out. I've been trying to do the right thing for the last 2 years. I've been arrested 20 times for it. They made it so that I can't have any type of firearm. They made it so I can't drive. They do all these different conditions on me, limiting my freedoms while I'm fighting for people's freedoms. But why? Because doing the right thing is not always the easy thing. In fact, it's generally the hard thing. So we're going to start asking Canadians to do the harder thing, to stand up for themselves, because we know the restrictions are coming back. All it's going to take for them is to do a couple more little lies about, oh, there's people dying now of COVID again, there's a new wave, there's a new strain, and now the vaccine no longer works. Guess what's going to happen when the vaccine no longer works, and they admit that? What's the only way you'll be able to protect yourselves in their eyes? Going back to the restrictions. Social distancing, contact tracing, wearing a mask, and surprise, surprise, it all starts again. As soon as you put that mask back on your face, they own you again. And then you know what they're going to tell you? Don't worry, we're going to have a new vaccine, and as soon as you all take it, you'll get your life back to normal again. The exact same lie, the exact same scam is coming. Only this time, they're going to try to starve you into submission, literally. They are literally going the route of every tyrant in the history of mankind. They want to starve you to death because they know if you can't feed your family and your child looking at you across the table and says, Daddy, Mommy, why haven't we eaten in 3 days? And then all of a sudden the government says, oh, I'll make this pain stop. All you got to do is download the app. All you got to do is give us your fingerprints and your biometric identity and agree to taking that jab, and you'll get your government assistance. That is where they are taking this. They know that we are fighting back. They know we are ready to resist. So they want you in a position where you literally can't fight back. And we're not just going to unite the freedom fighters, because everybody needs to eat, ladies and gentlemen. Even the idiot filming me right now in a mask. What are you gonna do? How is that mask going to help you? And I've seen that since the last time I saw you, you put on about 50 pounds, I'd say. So we know you like to eat. So I'm going to ask you a simple question. How long is it going to take for you to start supporting us? When your grocery bill goes up 100%? When your grocery bill goes up 200%? 300%? The point is, eventually, you're going to have no choice but to come on our side because you're going to need to eat like everybody else. And that jab in your arm ain't going to make it easier for you to eat. And that mask on your face ain't going to make it easier for you to buy your food. The only thing that's going to make it easier for you to buy your food is when you finally become a man, grow a set of balls, and do the right thing. And here's the best part. I saved that for last, obviously. The best part about all this, the best part about the food security movement, this is how we bring the silent majority in. How many of your friends and family secretly don't want to wear a mask, secretly don't want to take the jab, but they don't want to come to an event like this, or they don't want to speak out because they're afraid of what somebody might say about them. They don't want to be called conspiracy theorist, anti-masker, extremist, anti-vaxxer. But what are you going to call somebody that just wants their kids to eat? An anti-fooder? There's no more social stigma. There's no more excuses. It's time to unite everybody under one banner. And that banner is freedom, and that banner is a higher standard of living that we all deserve. And the alternative is being made for you right now in London, Ontario. The largest cricket farm in the world, subsidized by our tax dollars, operated by Bill Gates, who's now the #1 farmland owner in all of North America, by the way. That's how much they want to control the global food supply. He wants to inject you with never-ending vaccines while he uses people like Trudeau and their environmental regulations to put every farmer out of business, so people like Bill Gates can go and buy up all the farmland and all the industry for pennies on the dollar. And then when they control that food supply, and you go to the grocery store and you try to buy yourself a steak, and you see that beef tenderloin is now $350 a pound, but don't worry, the cricket hot dogs that they were serving at the Calgary Stampede when I was there this year are nice and cheap. That's what you're going to be eating. You're gonna own nothing, you're gonna be happy, and you're gonna eat bugs. And someone like you is gonna be eating a lot of bugs. So buckle up, Buttercup. Ridiculous. A grown-ass man in a mask. Look at that. There's a baby beside you without a mask. A baby's got a bigger set of balls than you.
It says raising lions, not sheep. We gotta wake up the lions. Some lions are asleep. We gotta wake up the lions and forget about the sheep. Yes, we gotta wake up the lions, 'cause Zion is calling. Yes, we gotta wake up the lions. No time to be asleep.
stand on God for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on God for thee.
Power to the people! As the author Ayn Rand said, do not keep silent when your own ideas and values are being attacked. If a dictatorship ever comes to this country, it will be the fault of those who kept silent. So, have you been silent? No! Yes, your voice matters. You have power. Have courage. We can win. Together, united, we must win! They say COVID-19 was a test of social responsibility, but it was a massive experiment on global control. They used this fear tactic, a massive psyop, to see how the masses would react to government overreach. They set a precedent to take away rights, violating the established rule of law of our country. It was never about a germ. It was all about control, and they trampled on our basic human rights and freedoms. They separated and muzzled people, created a culture of trained helplessness. You can Google that one. There's some great, horrific experiments that they did with dogs on teaching them trained helplessness. And that is what they have done with the people. Have you felt helpless and hopeless in the past few years? Maybe in the past week? Every week I hear of more suicides, of people giving up. No matter what, never give up. Never give up. You are not alone. Your lives matter. Just imagine how the people who complied felt. It was a well-orchestrated demoralization and behavioral control experiment. Beware, and they haven't stopped. It was pure evil versus good. We are on the right side of history. Truth will prevail.
Trudeau must go. Right? The power of one. So many people say, I'm just one person, what can I do? I have no power, I'm just one voice, what can I do? I am nothing if I'm just one. Well, Trudeau showed us the power of one, didn't he? He stomped down on our rights, he put masks on our face, he put masks on our children, he mandated experimental injections in order for you to have jobs, in order for you to travel, in order for you to go to school, in order for you to see your loved ones in long-term care. Your loved ones that were dying on their deathbeds, our funerals, weddings. He mandated vaccines, he mandated masks. That was his power of one. What's your power of one? What's your power of one? Have you thought about that? Your power of one is your voice. It's your mind. It's your unpredictability. It's your love. It's where you choose to spend your money. It's when you choose to say, I do not consent to your mandates, Mr. Trudeau. I do not consent to you telling me what I can and cannot do with my children. I do not consent to you telling me where and when I'm allowed to work. I do not consent to you telling me I have to stay in my own country when I have the power to travel, when God has given me the power to think, when God has given me a brain to look after this beautiful temple he gave us called my body, my choice.
Hello, Peterborough! It's good to be among friends, isn't it? Listen, since I'm among friends here, I'm wondering if I can be sentimental for a moment. All right? I love Canada. That's why we're all here, isn't it? because we love our country and we hate what's happening to it now. Isn't that right? I was thinking earlier, what is Canada really known for? I think around the world, Canada is known for politeness. Isn't that right? I think Canadians might lead the world in apologies per capita. And don't get me wrong, that can be a good thing. If I've wronged you, I hope I'll have the humility, the decency to apologize to you. That can be a virtue. However, there are things today that we're being asked to apologize for that I'm not willing to. I'm not willing to apologize for refusing to disclose my vaccination status to anyone. I'm not willing to apologize for saying that lockdowns are wrong and for refusing to comply. I will not apologize for advocating for medical treatment that's based on informed consent and not coercion. I will not apologize for saying that every person who lost his job for refusing the vax must be reinstated. I will not apologize for supporting our local businesses who resisted tyranny and stayed open. I will not apologize for supporting our truckers in Ottawa. I will not apologize for saying that we must have a government who tells the globalists at the UN and the World Economic Forum to take a hike and puts the interests of Canada and Canadians first. I will not apologize for saying that our tax dollars should go towards fixing problems in our own country and not to fund endless foreign wars. I will not apologize for saying that our government must recognize that the rights and freedoms guaranteed to us may not be put aside whenever they find it convenient. I will not apologize for saying, in the words of the preamble to the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, that Canada was founded upon recognizing the supremacy of God and the rule of law. I will not apologize for making the obvious point that taking firearms out of the hands of hunters and legal gun owners will do nothing to stop crime committed with illegal handguns. I will not apologize for saying that raising your taxes can't change the weather. I will not apologize for saying that men and women are different and that radical gender ideology is harmful and is destructive to society. I will not apologize for saying that children should not be exposed to drag performances. I will not apologize for saying that unborn children are made in God's image and deserve to be protected and not killed in the womb. And I will not apologize for saying that our current Prime Minister is incompetent and corrupt and must be voted out.
We, the Canadian people, by proclamation of the Queen in 1982, were given the right to amend the Canadian Constitution and ratify it. As somebody who has personally been across this country 19 times, I can tell you we've got the ability to ratify it. But we need to put together people who are committed. These amendments include the removal of political parties entirely. Because the moment you remove these political parties is the moment you remove the number one most imminent threat to our lives and the lives of our kids, the globalists. The only way they have to intrude upon our lives is by financing the political campaigns of these politicians in exchange for intrusion on policies that directly affect our lives. You want to get rid of them? Do you want your freedom? Then it's time to roll up your sleeves. I have been arrested 61 times in a year and a half across this country. I've got more criminal charges than any man on this land. On February 13th, I begin trial and I am my own counsel. I hope that people will come in support at Old Toronto City Hall. Will I turn the government on its head? Using the Canadian Bill of Rights, which is our supreme law. We want to file an injunction to force our existing judiciaries and law enforcement institutions to uphold their obligations and duties under public contract. For over a year and a half across this country, we have been attempting to deliver criminal evidence to police services, criminal evidence of crimes committed by parliamentarians, MPs, MPPs, medical officers of health, every single premier, and yes, the Prime Minister. Domestic accountability has been almost impossible to get because everybody keeps staying focused on the system when the problem remains in the structure of our society and not the system. If you have a leaky boat, it's not the wheel, it's not the seat or the motor. It's the boat that lets the water in. You need to fix the structure. By removing political parties, you will force every representative of Parliament to run as an independent. That means they get elected on their servitude, their competence, and their qualifications. No more backroom deals. No more line pockets. No more forced jabs. No more restricted education, and no more economic destruction.